Shanti sister, how are you?
Om Shanti, brother. Fine, brother. Thank you.
Okay. Today we are going to address a very important topic that's been uh, making our nation bow head in front of the world. So that's the safety of women. And women's safety is at risk constantly, especially after Kolkata lady doctors rape and murder case. So it's become a daily news now in all states of India. Maybe it's there outside India as well, but we are worried about our nation, especially women of India. So, uh, Isha Yoga founder Sadhguru, uh, he was addressing about the issue that happened 11 years back, the rape and murder of a Delhi girl, Nirbhaya, in a running bus. So he was giving really a nice solution, at least a part of the solution, by saying the root cause of this is because people tend to think of women as a commodity instead of a living being. So that's the main issue. They are so obsessed with the female body due to several reasons, and we can. The first thing that we get to know is cinema, then internet, then pornography, everything, and so on. So he says back then, even now in this Kolkata doctor rape case, everybody wants the accused to be hung immediately. So he says that's not the actual solution because everybody has that drive, just they don't execute it. But some go on and execute it because our society has become that sick. So if it is just 1% of the population, which is also high, but it's okay. You can hang them, kill them. But if it is 20% of the population, if you are going to hang 20% of the population, it's worse than the rape itself. So in some countries, due to strict laws, so these cases are low, not because they are good, because the law enforcement is very powerful. But we shouldn't depend only on the law enforcement because he says it is because of the inadequacy within humans. They want to possess to feel themselves full. So that is the main reason people go on shopping, especially girls, and guys go on raping or indulge in some sexual acts. So this is the root cause, which is true.
They don't
So
feel contented.
yeah, that's true. They don't feel content. That's the actual thing. But what he failed to address is how to feel fulfilled. He says they feel inadequate, which is true, but they don't know how to be content. Nobody knows the answer for that. That's the problem. What he says is if you just close your eyes, people are so identify themselves with this physicality of their body. So if they identify themselves as men, they want to possess women. So which is also true to some extent. But how to come out of this physicality? That is something he never addressed and he doesn't know it. So he says if you close your eyes, you should be able to forget everything about this body or any body. So is it possible? What he says, is it possible?
Maybe, maybe it is possible for him.
No, maybe.
He
Yeah.
being a Sadhguru, yeah,
Hmm.
he being a Sadhguru, maybe it may be
Hmm.
possible for him, but a normal human being
It's not
like
possible.
me,
Hmm. It's
my
not
fellow
possible.
being. It's not
Yeah,
very possible. Yeah,
yeah,
it's very hard.
yeah. So now another thing is you can't go on living in office and home closing your eyes all the time. Is that possible? We have to keep
But
our eyes open.
if
Yeah,
I close my eyes in my
uh,
workplace, then I can't
uh,
go to my work anymore.
yeah,
My boss will fire
that
me.
yeah, that's true.
Yes.
At the same time, even if I close the eyes, if I'm aware that somebody is so tempting, so obviously my
Mm.
mind is going to be attracted to that person.
Mm.
In Islamic nations
So,
like,
brother, even you will be attracted by the smell, even if you close your eyes.
yeah, that's
You can
true.
smell. Yeah,
Smell, their
smell.
laughter,
Yeah, you
everything
can hear.
attracts you. Yeah, that's
Yes.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that were the case, no blind man should have that trigger
You have to do.
because they have
Yes.
never
Yes.
seen girls in their life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I happened to ask one blind brother whether they are free from sex. No, they say it troubles them so much. And I was wondering,
Mm.
how is it possible? Because you don't know how women look like. You have never seen them. They say their sound that
Yes.
triggers me. It says. So what can you do? In Afghanistan, they have sanctioned the law saying that women should not reveal their face in public. They should fully mask their face, and they shouldn't even speak to their voice shouldn't be heard to a stranger. She can
Mm.
speak with her blood relations. That's it, or her husband. Other than
Mm.
that, she is not allowed to speak to anybody.
Okay.
So okay, that might help to some extent. That might help guys to some extent. But still, rape happens in Afghanistan. Even recently, a Pakistan minor girl was raped, gang raped by some 13 Pakistani guys. Despite the law being so strict, they have no control over their voices. So this is something to be addressed instead of covering the whole girl up. Because we've been seeing girls right from our childhood. We didn't get triggered back then. Only now we are getting triggered. So there is something that happened within us that we should address, that we should drive it out. That's the actual solution. And also another sister, she is a doctor. I happened to see her Facebook post. She said, "Girls, please stop putting glamorous reels, and boys, please stop consuming pornographic content. Even don't even glance at it. And government, please ban this content." But do you think this is ever going to happen? Because it all depends on the external thing. That's not going to happen. It is Kaliyug. Already government has banned pornographic websites, but still it's continuing because they are already addicted. It is there in their mind. So uh, and also the reels, it's not considered pornographic, but still it's so provoking than actual pornography. So people are using it for fame because only those who dance glamorously get more views. So we have no control over there, and even government can't decide what to do with it. It's there everywhere. So even if you get provoked by their smell or sound, what can we do? What can we possibly do? There's nothing we can do. But there is something that actually makes us weak to get triggered. So that should be strengthened. So whatever that sister told, whatever Sadhguru told, well, everything is correct to some extent, but that addresses the problem partly, not fully. The actual thing is, he also speaks about self transformation. He says, your brother, husband, father, child, male child, everybody is so sweet as long as they are surrounded by others. When they are alone, they are a totally different being. So, so it's true people feel themselves inadequate, but it's not true. Well, they try to make themselves full by possessing other things, but that's not the only thing they do. They are not going to possess anything by seeing a pornographic content, by having chit chat with friends, by traveling around the world. They're not possessing anything. But what happens is when you don't feel yourself full, your mind goes crazy, creating waste thoughts. So it just it's like a horse without girdle. So there is no one to control. It just hangs, yeah, it hangs on crazily over and there. So now we have to bridle our mind. How's that possible? So that's the true spirituality. So for that, you need to know who you are. You are not this bodily being, as Sadhguru says, but who you are. That's something he never knows. Even in his meditation practice, he says, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. Okay, who are you? In Buddhist meditation, they say, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? They repeat this mantra. There's no big difference between that and what Sadhguru is teaching. He is saying, who am I? He is saying, I don't know. Right? I'm not a body means I don't know. I'm not a mind. I don't know. But who exactly am I? I don't know. So only God comes and says about us. We are not the perishable body like we all believe. That's the reason we get addicted to sensual pleasure. And the number one of that is lust. That's the number one enemy of humankind. People didn't believe it in the past, but after seeing several rape cases, they have no choice but to accept this now. So the main reason for that is being body conscious. Now God asks us to become soul conscious. So it is the soul that shines like a tiny star in between the eyebrows that operates this body, that sees through the eyes, listens through the ears, speaks through the mouth. So it is the soul that does everything with this body, and when it leaves the body, this body cannot do anything. So, so the funny thing is, we do not know who we are. Only God knows that. And that is the reason he comes just 100 years before the destruction of this world and explains about this 5,000-year time cycle. The first half of which was heaven in the beginning, and now it's hell, mainly because there's absolutely no trace of sorrow in heaven. Everything you see, you hear is filled with happiness. Now, everything you hear, you see is filled with sorrow, which is why it is hell. The main reason there was no sorrow there is they did not commit any sin. How was that possible? Because Sadhguru says it is possible to lower the percentage, but it is not possible to create the crime-free world. But he doesn't know that there was a time when there were no such crimes at all. No crime of any sort, not only rape. There was no theft, jealousy, nothing. Because the root cause of all these crimes is just these five vices: lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. And these vices are present in every man and women. They are combinedly called ten-headed Ravan. So it is his kingdom now, but not forever, because it is only for the last 2,500 years it was the kingdom of Ravan. Before that, it is the kingdom of Ram, which is the kingdom created by God Himself. That's why it's called hell. Everybody there would be so beautiful, but nobody get disturbed. Everybody's voice would be so sweet, but nobody get disturbed. Everything around them would be so beautiful, be it animals, birds, everything will come near to humans, unlike now. Now you can find a bird sitting on lion, which we consider it deadly, but it doesn't have the guts to come near us. So who is more cruel? That should say it. Even
mm,
they know we are cruel than animals. So that's why they stay away from that. But that was not the case in heaven. Lion and
mm,
tiger, they would be like pets for us. They wouldn't feed on each other. That's the reason in many religious scriptures it's mentioned cow and uh, sheep take water from the same pond at the same time, because
mm,
everything, including animals like lions and tigers, they feed only on plants. That's the world created by God. It is mentioned in Bible and
mm,
Quran. So that's how the world was. It was free from rape. Do you know why? Because
mm,
it doesn't know. Nobody there knows what lust is, what anger is, what greed, attachment, or ego are. How's that
mm,
possible? Only when we know that we can make this society back into heaven. That's why God
mm,
comes just before the destruction of this world, because it's going to be renewed into heaven again. Only God
mm,
can do that through His
okay,
knowledge, which is available
mm,
through all Brahmakumari's Rajyoga Meditation Center in the form of Murli, absolutely free of cost.
mm,
We can
mm,
also find that Murli in YouTube and several websites. We'll be giving the links of them in the description below. God says they were soul conscious. They were looking at each other as soul, but that's not
mm,
something that you can develop in a second. It takes time and
mm,
effort. So God says,
mm,
now it's time to become soul conscious again. Only if you become fully body conscious to the extent that you have no trace of lust, anger, greed, attachment, or ego in your mind and intellect, only then you will be eligible to enter heaven.
mm,
So God says, by doing this, we, there is no doubt we have committed many crimes under the influence of these five vices in the past while we were in heaven for the past 2500 years, which is why we are suffering in the form of several diseases, conflict between the families, between nations, and natural calamities. It's all because of the law of karma, due to the as a consequence of sins we have committed in the past. But God comes to help us from the punishment. How? By purifying us. How can we purify
mm,
ourselves? The
mm,
only being who is ever pure is none but one God. He is called Shiva by Hindus, Allah by Muslims, and Heavenly Godfather by Christians. He doesn't take birth like us. He resides in the Supreme Abode all the time. Nonetheless, only he has the knowledge about this 5000-year time cycle. Only when he gives this knowledge and makes us soul conscious again will we be able to enter heaven. So,
mm,
after having that knowledge, if he doesn't come to earth, then what is the use of God being knowledgeful? So, that's why he comes in the end and gives this knowledge. The first lesson he teaches us is to consider ourselves to be souls and look at each other as soul, and it's not going to be that easy. It takes time
mm,
and effort. For that, we need soul power, which we lack now, because after taking several rebirths, our soul battery is completely discharged. To recharge it fully, we have to connect our mind with God, who resides in the supreme abode, which is the golden red colored light world, as a point of light, just like a soul. He is also a soul, which is why he is called Supreme Soul. So, so we have to remember him like a star in the golden red colored sky as much as possible. After considering ourselves to be souls, because this comes first. We are not this body. So the more we connect our mind with God, we will be filled with the power of God. So we will no longer be distracted by external attractions, either human beings or non-living beings or anything. So we have to constantly be in remembrance of God, no matter what you do, because we have been body conscious for the past 2,500 years. It's not that easy to come out of it. So that's the reason God says, no matter what you do, right from the time you wake up from bed to the time you go back to sleep, try to be in remembrance of God constantly. It's difficult. It's going to be broken all the time. That's the only duty of Maya, to break your intellect from God. Nonetheless, you have to reconnect it over and over again with God. So that's how we become powerful. Moreover, we have to forcefully uh, detach ourselves from the external world. We have to practice of seeing while of not seeing while seeing, not listening while hearing. So that comes by connecting our mind with God while we talk with others. So no matter what he talks, majority of our concentration will be in God. Only 5 to 10% to what's happening around us, so that our mind doesn't get corrupted. That's the precaution we need to take. And we need to listen to Murli daily. We need to churn it over and over again till the lost trace of voice gets wiped away. So if we are able to do it before we leave this body, either by death or by the world destruction, only then we will be able to enter heaven, take birth in heaven. Or else, like everybody, will be going back to where we came from, the soul world. Everybody will be going, but if you have become eligible before leaving this body, then you will be entering heaven. Or else we will stay there till the world becomes old, becomes hell again. So that's when we come and we always see only sorrow, not the happiness of heaven. Because what happens in one kalpa keeps repeating kalpa after kalpa accurately. To understand it exactly, if you are watching this video, you must have watched this video 5,000 years back on the very same day. And you will again be watching this video over and over again in every kalpa on the very same day. That's how accurate the drama is. So that's why the main slogan of Brahmakumaris is now or never. If you take it seriously now, you will be enjoying the abundance of heaven in every kalpa. If you are careless now, you are going to be deprived of this happiness for 2500 years, like forever. You will never be able to enter heaven, which is the, I think this is the biggest punishment, because God is father of everybody. Despite that, if you are not able to enjoy the benefit of being the son and daughter of God due to our carelessness, not due to his carelessness, because he is giving this knowledge. He is making people like you and me to spread this knowledge to as much as possible. But because of your addiction towards the sensual pleasures, you are not ready to take this
Yes, sir.
knowledge and follow this. Whose fault is it then? So that's something we should understand. So this is the only way, that is by slowly we will develop soul conscious, and it's going to be very easy to look at each other as soul. Then you will not even consider a girl to be your sister. Instead, you will consider her to be your brother, because it is only the body that is female. All souls are male to God, because everything has the right to father's inheritance, which is heaven. So in olden days, only male child inherit the father's property. That's why consider everybody as brother, soul brother. So that's why Muslims call each other as boy, means brother. But what they do not know is God is our Father. They don't agree with that. And not only that, even girls are our brother, not sister. They don't know that. Without knowing that, they are calling each other as boy, boy, boy. That's the thing. So this is the actual solution. Because and also we have to get rid of by listening to Murli daily. God is cautioning us daily to stay away from everything that's not in accordance with God's law. Even if a Brahmakumari is not going according to God's law, stay away from him. Show no mercy. Show mercy to yourself, because he is going to destroy you. His company, no matter how close you were before taking this knowledge. Now it's time to cut that relationship, because now you have to go to heaven. For that, you have to purify yourself. So only by considering yourself to be the soul and remembering God as a point of light in the golden red colored light world, and also by churning the knowledge points that we receive in Murli daily, we will be able to get more and more strength to stand against the power of Maya. That's how we don't even stay away from committing rape. We totally stay away from seeing any girl lustfully, including your own wife, including your own husband. Because if you are lusting after your wife, then nothing is going to stop you from lusting after other girls. Because what happens here is the next step for rape. You need to understand that unless you put an end to lust, you can't end rape. Unless you put an end to anger even with your own child, at one point you may commit murder, because it's the extension of that. So all bad things happen due to the attachment either to your family or language or religion or caste. So that's why God says, detach yourself from even your body. Consider yourself to be just soul, and only relationship you have is with the God Father. Establish all relationship with one God. He is your father, husband, brother, sister, wife, whatever relationship you think of, establish with only him, because he is imperishable. Everybody else is perishable, and also they change according to the time, but God doesn't change. He is ever loving. He doesn't expect anything in return from you. Instead, he fills us with everything that we need for the next 5,000 years by giving this knowledge. So this knowledge is converted to divine qualities, according to which you will be getting wealth, health, everything for the next 5,000 years. So this is the actual solution, whether you believe it or not. This is the actual solution. If you don't want to stay away from having physical relationship with your own wife, then please don't talk about putting end to rape, because you have no control over yourself. Then how can you expect rapist to have control over himself? You are addicted to that to some extent. He is addicted to that to another extent. That's it. That's the difference. But you are on the same direction. If you want, when you come in the street to shout against the rapist to hang him, promise yourself that you will never indulge in any sexual act. If you have no courage for that, then just leave it. Because sooner or later you are going to be the accused soon. Because you don't know how addicted you are. It will happen one day. So this is for it, and you would like to add more, sister?
Yes, brother, definitely, brother.
Mm,
Even in Bible, it had said that in heaven we will have
yes.
abundance of food,
Mm,
and people will never be sick.
yes.
So, do you say that because of the people body conscious, we are not able to enjoy that kind of lifestyle here in uh,
Hell,
hell?
hell. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. And also in Quran, it is mentioned you will be blessed with a pure wife in heaven, which means here the wife is not pure, right? So what's the difference? They are pure, They don't know what lust is. That's why they are pure. So if you want to marry her, you should also be pure.
Pure.
Yeah. Unless you become pure now, you can't even enter heaven. Because you should imbibe all the qualities that deities in heaven possess. That's the actual logic here. Because what we have as character, the soul carries that character forward to the next birth. So that's why we need to be very cautious about every single act we do. Don't think you are just shouting at your child. That becomes your character. It will stop you from entering heaven. So don't think you are somebody is very beautiful so that I can enjoy her beauty just by looking at her, because that's going to be a big hindrance for you to enter heaven. So God says, consider this world to be finished for you, or consider yourself dead to this world. So you should there is nothing in this world to enjoy. Everything you think that gives happiness initially is going to give you sorrow and pain, nothing else. So how long should you suffer to realize this truth? So that's why God says, sooner the better. Anyway, you have to become pure, because anyway this world is going to get destroyed. Anyway, you are going to go to the supreme abode. Whether you go happily by following the path of God, or whether you are going to go after receiving severe punishment, it is in your hands. It's your choice. So the intelligent will be the ones who remembers God all the time, goes happily, and also comes into heaven and enjoy the abundance of heaven. While the rest, they don't want to leave anything here and suffer because of that, and also they will be punished for that, and they will have to lose heaven in every cycle, which is the biggest punishment. Om Shanti. Om Shanti, sister. Thank you so much for joining. And thank you, every brother and sister, for watching this. So make sure you spread this to everybody. If you really worry about your sister, mother, daughter, every Indian daughter, every Indian sister. So it is only through this video they will be protected. We can't put an end to what's happening outside our control, but we can change, transform ourselves by following the path of God. If you become pure, God says, nobody can even approach you with a bad intention. That's the power of purity. So that's the thing you should, or else if you indulge in lust all the time with your wife, not with others, then whether you indulge in lust with your wife or others, it doesn't matter whether you are indulging or not. So in the next birth, you might be raped while you were a child. So that's why the only safety is to take care of every single act you do. Make sure your vision, your thought, your words, your action, they don't have a trace of lust, anger, greed, attachment, or ego. That's your shield of protection. And the only way to achieve that is through remembrance of God all the time, because He is your only protector. Om Shanti. Thanks for watching.